Welcome back to Pawplexity, a podcast about how living with dogs
and cats
keeps rewriting the way we live, we think, and we try to figure things out. One German,
one Brit,
and one American.
3 very different dogs, and 3 lives forever changed by them. We met on the Isle of Dogs in London, and we've kept talking ever since about behaviour, instincts, heartbreak, hilarity, and all the beautiful chaos that comes with sharing a life with a dog or cat. I'm Annika, and today we're talking about something most dog owners don't enjoy, but all of us can relate to, the vet visit. Bruce and Ben are here with me to unpack how our dogs react to the vet visits, how we try to advocate for them, and why the tiny exam room sometimes brings out the biggest feelings. Hi Bruce, hi Ben.
Hi Annika, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining.
So let's start at the door or even outside the vet office. So Makenzie has been to the vet offices in Seattle, London, and Munich, and Hanover, and Taormina. And I must say the only one she tolerates well enough is a newly opened one in Munich, where even the reception feels more like a cafe than a vet's office. So how do your boys and girls know when you leave for the vet? Are they aware?
Personally, Bowie's not, to be honest. Bowie just sees it as another opportunity to get a treat. Like I've been very, very lucky because I've had dogs all my life, and every single dog, when you get to the doors of that vet, there is some sort of characteristic change. But Bowie's just like straight in there, sits down, picks his toy in there, and then he just relaxes.
How about all of yours, Bruce?
So Judge is pretty good. I have to, in the U.S. I bring him by car. So in general, he's a little anxious when he gets in the car. It's just how he normally is, even if I just take him to the store. He's not all that great. He wants to sit on my lap is the problem. And he's a little bit bigger, than I can actually see over him. So I'm I do let him sit on my lap a little bit. But, once we get to the vet, he's fine to go in. Like I said, the vet, he loves the vet. He loves, she loves him. And so he gets treats and a lot of love and attention when he goes.
You must have been to vets all over the place as well, to different ones. Is it always the same?
Well, in London, I didn't have a car, so he didn't know where we were going. Mm-hmm. And so I would just literally hop on the DLR and go to Greenwich. And, sometimes we went to the pub over there. Sometimes we went to the vet. So he didn't know.
You think Makenzie sort of tolerates the one you found in Munich? Like, what do you mean? Does she get to the doors of the vets and she knows that she's going in, or
she always knows? Maybe it's me because I'm more like, oh my god, this is going to be a nightmare.
She feeds off your.
I think so. She does feed on me, but she is like most of the vets. She wasn't. She smells. There is so many smells, and she's so nervous. And then when there's the other dog, she wants to say hello, but at the same time, she wants to protect her space, so she doesn't really react too well to the other pets in the vet's office. And the Munich one that is super new, brand new, it really, you when you enter the space, it feels like a cafe. There's actually a cafe. It smells like a cafe as well, which Makenzie does like because she knows a cafe is Starbucks and she gets treats. So I think she reacts well to them. They have like a treat dispenser for cats, for little bunnies, and for dogs. And then the reception is built in a way that you never run into other dogs. So it's like really wide and large, but it's little nooks, like a little really well thought out cafe, like the cafe we wanted to open at one point, where there's different nooks for every niches, for every animal that comes in.
That's so good.
That is super, super nice. But she's like realizing what the vet is and that she is not really happy there. But she, at least when she's done, she usually runs out. She breathes. I feel like she takes a deep breath and then she wants to come in and say thank you to whoever treated her, which is super sweet.
That's nice.
So the cats are a little different, I will add, because I have to put them in a carrying bag. Mm-hmm. So I have to get her in. So when she sees the bag coming out, she knows she's going in it, and then she runs and hides.
How do you convince her to go into the bag in the carrier?
I usually try to pick her up first now, and then I bring the bag out while I'm holding her, because she doesn't really. Then she'll go in.
So all of these questions, I feel like, are more for Makenzie and me because your boys and girls are just doing perfect. But is there any nervousness during the exam?
When Bowie, when he used to get on the when he get to the metal table, like he used to be fine, but his most recent vet visit was just for his booster jabs, and he did get a little bit stiff when he was up there. But again, like the vet was just giving him a treat while he was having his booster jabs. But there's no sort of like barking, or it's just sort of more of a stiffness. But that's very recent. He's never done that before. Yeah.
So with me, with Judge, our vet since COVID has been like, you can't go inside. You have to call and they come out and take your dog. So I haven't had a lot of experience with him recently. But, you know, in the past, he does get nervous on the table. I remember one time he actually peed on my leg. I brought him into the office because I guess he was nervous. And, you know, he knows a lot of the times it is for like a jab for a vaccine, or for, you know, he's going to get poked and prodded for something. And so he does not like it for sure. But like I said, she's very nice to him, and she immediately comes in and starts giving him hugs and kisses. So that does relax him. But he definitely isn't like, you know, oh my God, I'm happy to be here right off the bat.
During the exam, it is fine because Makenzie, again, she is like super stiff. She's super scared. She tries to hide, and she doesn't really want to be touched. And especially when they try to touch the paws, she's like, no, I'm not having it. You're not touching my paws.
Bowie's fine. He's just stiff. Like, he can do what he wants. But he's just, you can tell his little ears go down, and he's like, but yeah, very kind of sad.
See, Judge loves attention. So I think whenever he's around the vet and the vet texts, he's always somewhat happy to see other people in general. So I don't think that he's as anxious maybe as Makenzie, but I could tell that he knows something is going on. The groomer is actually worse. He doesn't like going to the groomer. He
prefers the vet to the groomer.
Yeah, he would rather go to the vet.
Yeah, I think Bowie would be on board with that as well. Bowie doesn't like the loud hoover noise.
Yeah, like because he goes, being he's got his, you know, fluffy coat, I have to bring him every month. So he goes very often. And that's maybe another thing, is that he goes more often than the vet. But when he gets there, he puts his paws out. So he's like he doesn't want to go in. I have to kind of drag him in.
Oh, poor boy. But it needs to be done.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
On the other hand, I must say, ever since Makenzie got her diagnosis of hip dysplasia, we haven't brought her to the groomer at all, because I'm always worried that they stretch her or she jumps off the table and she just get injured in a way. Because the groomer, the ones that we had in the vicinity weren't really trained for that. I mean, which groomer is trained for that? So I really worried about that. So she hasn't really had, I don't want to say she didn't have a proper bath for a longer time than I would like. Let's put it that way. But luckily from her fur, everything just repels. She's like Teflon. Even if she rolls in dirt,
Max is like that.
Comes off. So, and she doesn't smell. So it's
that's the same with Max. He doesn't. I haven't taken him yet. I mean, we've had him since September. He's not going to need to go as often. Like, I'll probably maybe take him twice a year just to get him a nice wash. I mean, we've bathed him ourselves, but you know, just cut his nails, give him a good wash, and you know, have him coming back smelling nice.
I guess you've had probably more vet visits than both of us put together, Annika, because you've had to deal with the old hip dysplasia.
Yeah, and then also in the beginning I was so helpless and I didn't really know what is something to go to the vet for and what not. So at one point I remember it was in London when she was like smacking her mouth all the time, like something. It felt to me like something, but it was between her teeth. But it wasn't anything. I mean, not that I could really have a look, but it was just so annoying. And she was annoyed by it, and she wouldn't stop. And Tobias was away. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening here? So again, I went into my panic mode. And if there's nobody to stop me or to mirror me, I'm like, okay, I'm going all the way, obviously. So I called the vet. I'm like, she has this weird smacking mouth. I don't know what to do. There's something in her mouth. And they just ask, like, is it swollen? Can she breathe? I'm like, yeah, she can do it. She does take treats. So I don't know. And they were like, well, we're closing down now. Do you want to come? But it's emergency. So it's an emergency hour. So you would have to pay double. I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. I'll just walk her over. So I walked her over and they just looked into her mouth and there's nothing wrong with her. For whatever reason, she stopped when we entered the vet and that was that. So I don't know, 80 pounds for nothing.
She's like, all right, mom, I'm fine.
I just wanted to go out for a round and then get a treat there. I don't know. It's
There's a funny meme. It's like, it says something like, there's a fine line between, me acting sick enough to get rice and chicken versus going to the vet. Once she got there, she's like, all right, we're crossing the line now.
So what is your most embarrassing vet story that you went to the vet for? Don't leave me hanging here alone.
Mine's easy. Like mine's when I gave Bowie the wrong human medication for allergies, and it was a bad one. But because he was sneezing a lot, so I went to the vets. And I was like, is there anything we can do? And he was, it's just like, hay fever. But you can give him like human hay fever medication. You just give him this. So he told me this product to get. This was in Canada. And I can't remember. Reactine. It was called Reactine.
Mm-hmm.
But what he didn't tell me was, there's certain types of Reactine that are toxic to dogs as well. So Reactine has a lot of different, like, Reactine this, Reactine Complete. So I got Reactine Complete, not even thinking about it. But Reactine Complete has a ingredient in it for flu as well. And that is very toxic to dogs. And so I gave Bowie one of these Reactines. And my girlfriend at the time, she came home and it was like late at night, and Bowie jumped on the bed as he usually does, sort of says his hellos, but his eyes were completely black, so there's no blue in his eyes anymore. It was just pupils were completely dilated, and he's just started shaking and so obviously we started to freak out a little bit. Straight to the emergency vets, waiting outside the emergency vets, and she was like, what's he had? And I said, Reactine. She was like, any sort of Reactine? I was like, Reactine Complete. And she was like, get him in there now. And I was like, oh God, I've killed my dog. I've killed my dog. She took him in, and then he was in there for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
2 days.
Yeah, they pumped charcoal into him so that it was like trying to absorb whatever they could. And, every morning I'd ring at like 6 a.m. and I was like, how's he doing? And they're like, he's fine. He's keeping all the other dogs up. And I'm like, yep, sounds like him. But yeah, that was the worst one.
That is quite a shock, I imagine.
So yeah, I think always check the labels, guys.
Yes.
Well, that's a tough one. That they have different kinds, and they just they should have probably told you. And
that's the thing.
There's different ones. Don't give them the complete.
My girlfriend was was a doctor, so she was like, that's duty of care. They need to tell you that there are certain types of that can hurt the dog. So she made me go down to the vet and it's like, not very confrontational at the time, but yeah, he came in and apologized.
But did they cover any of the emergency vet cost?
I mean, we had insurance, and actually, really luckily, like they covered the whole lot, apart by like 10%, the 10% that you pay. Yeah.
Are your pets all insured at the moment?
I don't think Bowie is.
Not Max and Patches yet, but Judge and Nipsey are.
Oh no, Bowie is covered. He is covered with my parents' dogs. They've all got under one cover.
We stopped cover for Makenzie because our UK one ran out, and with the hip dysplasia, the allergies and the luxating patella, all of the insurances are like off. And then in Italy, vet care isn't. I mean, in Sicily, it is lovely. We have a lovely doctor, but the care there is not as available. So we would have to insure her in Germany, and that is just like outrageously expensive at the moment. So since we're managing well, I think it's better to save all of that money that goes into insurance for her surgery that she hopefully will never need.
Yeah.
But she does get all the care she needs anyway, so she is the most expensive being in our household.
Same. So I have two. The first one was with Judge. He had diarrhea. And I just freaked out because he was like, we got him in July 2018. It was July 21st. This was like early September. So he was only still just maybe 3-4 months old. And he was this tiny little thing. And I remember it was my wife's boss's kid's bar mitzvah. And they're like all day long and then all night. So I took her, I left and I went back home to check on him. He still had diarrhea, so I rushed him to the vet because I was like, he's going to be dehydrated, blah, blah, blah. And she was kind of like, not as concerned as I was. And she did give him like some fluids. And that was probably, for him, that was probably the most ridiculous one. But then for Nipsey, after she got spayed, you know, I had heard her purr, which is different. I've never, you know, I wasn't used to that because dogs obviously don't do that. But I think she was trying to purr. And because she had surgery and they intubated her, I think her throat was a little swollen. So it didn't sound like her normal purr. And I thought she had like fluid in her lungs. Oh. And I sent this email to the vet. It was a Sunday. I was like, please get back to me, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up spending like another $1,800. And it was just her purring. And her throat was a little like inflamed. So it sounded different. But I was like, 2 x-rays. She's definitely got fluid in her lungs. And I was like, you know, thinking to myself, I'm like, why did I even spay her? Because she's a house cat. She's not going to be around, you know, any other cats that she could ever get pregnant. So, and that was like, I remember I was like crying because I thought she was like really not going to make it. But then, you know, after all these tests and experts reading the x-rays, it was nothing.
And that was all on a Sunday. Yeah.
Well, actually, I did have to wait till Monday because the vet was closed. And I didn't go to the emergency care because she was still like eating and stuff. So I knew it wasn't terrible. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
did
still.
Wait one day. And I got there before the vet. I was like waiting for her in the morning.
So Makenzie, we don't have more. I mean, we do have more vet stories, but none of the embarrassing kind. But I remember when we took her for a walk on Matchute. It's this beautiful wooden, muddy area. Here's biggest city farm with a lot of green. And we were new to London, and we were just walking. She took us to Matchute. For some reason, we were still more or less in our PJs, didn't plan to go on this very long walk. And she was like, no, I'm going there, so you come. And we went, didn't have our phones, didn't have any money, didn't have anything. And at one point, she just sat down and held up her back paw. That was before her diagnosis. But it was still like, why do you hold up your paw? And then she was crying, like, oh. And I thought she stepped into something. Her paw was falling off something. So Tobias picked her up. Like, for me to look at her paws. And she's very particular with her paws. So even I am not really always allowed to touch them. So I'm trying to kneeling in the mud, trying to look up into her paws, and then I touched them. I made her like, let me feel, let me see if something is in there. So I kind of felt in between the toes, and then we sat her down again just to see how she reacted. And she just looked at me like, okay, thank you, fine. And we were in this 5 minutes it took us to figure out what is happening. So we were like, okay, who runs to the vet? Who goes? Where's the phone? How do we go home? Like, is she dying right here and now in the middle of match? It was just hilarious in the end. She's like, yeah, thank you. I just needed it clean.
Just needed it clean.
Just needed it clean.
She was
That's
like,
it.
Can you give me a mani and a petty while we're out?
Yeah.
Which I'm still not allowed to do. It's just the silliest thing. She goes to the vet for nail clipping because I'm not allowed to touch her paws. It's like her paws, yes.
Yeah, that's
but
funny.
Not
Judge is the same way. He does, although I wipe his paws every time we come back from a walk, so he allows me to do it. But like, clipping his nails, he doesn't let me do it. He freaks out, but he gets it done at the groomer, so whatever. Let them do it.
It's for the professionals, so I'm allowed to.
And they tell me that he's very well behaved.
Lotion on. Yeah, it's the same. As soon as I'm not in the room at the vets where we go for clipping, they are all in love with her because she's the most well-behaved Chiba they've ever seen. As long as I'm or Tobias are not in the room, we went to. I have to share this story. We went to the physiotherapist. I'm not sure if I told you the story, but we went recently to the physiotherapist, and she goes on the hydro, the walking hydro.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know what's the
it's
proper.
Like the treadmill in the water. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. So she's in this water, and Tobias, for some reason, usually I go, and he was there last time, and she was like, "Oh, let's take off the harness." I'm like, "Not sure," and the physiotherapist was like, "Yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever makes her comfortable, as long as she's comfortable." So we put her in there. Tobias took out the harness, so we didn't have any way of just holding her because usually I just hold her harness, and then she's fine as long as you're calm. She is calm, but Tobias was just there. Next to her, standing there looking into each other's eyes. She was like not panic driven, but she was like, I don't like this, Dad. Can you take me out of this bathe, whatever that is? I don't like it. So she wasn't walking. She was trying to constantly jump out of the water thingy. Tobias was trying to get her in, trying to hold her, trying to catch her, trying to put her back in, but he wasn't convinced it was the right thing. And you could see in her eyes, like, if I can get him to panic, I know he will take me out.
Yeah.
And he was panicked. So I just like sent him away, walk around the corner, go away. And then we finished this. It's like 10 minutes on the treadmill, like really slowly. The water was too cold, but still it was fine. As soon as he was away, she was like, okay, I'll finish it.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. It's just so funny with her. But she just really knows how to manipulate the one person.
They're smart. They know.
They do.
Does that help her? Because actually, I was thinking about doing that with Judge because he's got like a wonky back leg that often bugs him.
I am not so sure because we don't. Well, I've read about that hydrotherapy that it should be more regularly because it's like going to the gym once a month.
Yeah,
it doesn't really do anything for you. But what really helped her, even with luxating patella, is the home exercises that we're doing. It's like 5 minutes every day. 3 different exercises, and our PT said that the muscles around the kneecap, they are a bit stronger, so it's not as loose anymore. And that really does make it. It's like 5 minutes.
You'll have to send me that regimen.
Yeah, it's really easy. So, but going back to the vet, physiotherapist can be another episode. Have you ever agreed to a procedure that you felt like your boys, girls didn't want to?
The only thing is when I get his teeth cleaned, they make me sign like a thing that says if he needs a tooth pulled, it's like they'll just pull it. And I'm like, the first time we got his teeth cleaned, he was 2 years old. I'm like, he's not going to have any bad teeth. I don't want any teeth being pulled. And so I didn't want to sign it. And they're like, well, it's just something. It's just a formality. So I don't think I signed it. Now he's 7, so there could be a possibility. So I would probably sign it now. But yeah, that's the only thing. I was like, I don't want you pulling any of his teeth.
No, I haven't. No procedures as such. I mean, when he was a puppy, and you've got to go for all his puppy jabs and inoculations and stuff. I remember being told that they're going to try and tell you he needs this and he needs that, but I think they're just trying to. A lot of the stuff that they say he needs, they're just trying to. I think a lot of the vets will just try and get money for something. I heard somewhere. I spoke to someone about it, and they're like, he doesn't need this and he doesn't need that. But they try and put everything on you.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what they were, but yeah, I think for peace of mind, I just went in there and I was like, give him everything. Give him everything,
yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. I don't know if this will come up organically, but I'll just add it now. That's the one thing with the vet that can be difficult. It's not like humans where you go to the doctor and they just do what's necessary.
Yeah.
It's like everything. It seems like and this was in London. I've been to a couple of different vets, even in the U.S., especially in emergency situations when my actual vet's closed. There's always we can do this. If there's a list, we could give him this, we can give him that. It's your choice. And I'm well, whatever he needs, just give him. If it's unnecessary, then don't do it. I remember with Nipsey when we got her spayed, it was do you want this? Do you want that? And I'm I want everything. I want her to live. So, give her everything. Give her the antibiotics that she needs. It's oh, you could use this antibiotic or we could give her an injection. But it's a little bit more. And I'm just do what you think is best. And I don't want to have to think about it, I'll pay, it's fine. Just do, what's best. With humans, they just do what's best for you and they bill your insurance and that's it.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you don't know, I feel like vets will, not all vets, but they are out to make money. They have to make money. Yeah. They're just going to be if there's something that's maybe beneficial, but not particularly massively necessary, they're going to try and put it on you anyway.
I remember we had, my sister had a dog, Angus, and I was probably a teenager at the time. And I remember I went to go take him out and he wouldn't get up and he was acting weird. So I brought him back inside and I was like, Jenna, I don't know. I went to go take him out and he's not getting up. He's just sitting down. He's wimping. And so we immediately took him to the emergency vet. And we told him what was going on. I remember when we pulled up, my sister's like, I need a gurney.
Oh, gurney.
Oh, well, if he can't walk.
Well, he's a lab. He was a lab, and he weighed like 80, 90 pounds. He was pretty big. Actually, he might have even hit 100 at one point. But yeah, so then like we told them what was going on, and they're like, well, we could do x-rays or blood work. And I was like, well, I think it was his tail. But I still said blood work because I was like, I feel like if his tail's broken, what are they going to do anyway? You know, like it's not like they could put a cast on a tail. And so I was like, I wanted to make sure it wasn't anything like systemic that he was like his kidneys were failing or something. So I asked for blood work. But in my mind, I'm like, why are you putting it on me? Like you're you can give him an exam and do what you think he needs.
That is one of the most difficult things I feel for our pets to advocate for them, because you really don't know when you go to the vet, even for regular visits, you really don't know what's going on. They cannot more talk to you than to the vet. And
exactly. They can't communicate.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, you've probably experienced it more than both of us, Annika, because you've had to I know you've got several different opinions from several different vets. And sort of like they all give you the same, a different kind of, you know, some of them will give you the same answer, but some will give you a completely different answer. It's like, who do you trust?
That is, that the trust issue, that was really, especially with her hip dysplasia journey, let's call it that. Because in the beginning, we went to the vet, they found that out, and they all said, well, she needs surgery immediately. So both hips, they need to be gone. It's like, I don't know how many thousand of pounds, but that was the one thing. But the other thing is like, she would have to be refined in a crate 3 months for each part, each side, which is impossible for her. Again, we're talking about a dog who's not even agreeing to wear a collar. Yeah. So that is like super difficult. So I went to vet after vet after vet, and the seventh one also said, well, yes, surgery. One of the German ones said...
The seventh one? Wow.
Yes. The eighth one said no.
You do have a lot of experience.
I do. Because I felt somewhere in between, I felt like, okay, you're all saying that, but all of them had different approaches, and none of them was like really, we had x-rays, which I shouldn't have agreed to in the beginning. That's the first thing, because they were so painful. But then all of the vets looked at the x-rays and just said, well, yeah, surgery immediately, without really spending a lot of time on us. And then even I called a German one, because I just wanted a German opinion, because I felt like more at home in the language. So I forwarded them the x-rays and said, well, what is your opinion? I didn't say anything else. I just said, these are the x-rays. What are your opinions? And they just called and said, well, she's not going to walk in about 6 months. She will be paralyzed. I'm like, that is it. No. And they just said, well, come to us. We'll operate on her and she will be fine afterwards. And I couldn't really take that. It's just like, it didn't agree. I mean, I don't have medical opinion, but I felt like if there's just one person who tells me we don't need to operate immediately, there is another way around to get her out of this pain, I'll find that one person. And I found her on the internet in the US, like a US physiotherapist for humans, for animals. And she was amazing. So we started working with her, and then she didn't tell me, but she said, well, have you ever asked your vet these questions? I'm like, no. So why would I ask these questions? Like, not challenging them in a way, but asking, why do you think that? Why is that necessary? What is the long-term impact? Like, what is the difference between all of these painkillers and all of these things? Like, what does it do to the kidney? What do I need to think long-term? How livable is her life? So I went back to my vet asking all of these questions in London. And in the beginning, Dr. Nora, she was like really confused. Really, really confused with me. And she was like, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. I don't know what to do. So we kind of had like a really tough discussion. And in the end, she was like, you know what? I don't know the answer. I'm going to ask around in my network. And she did that every single time. Every time I had a question, she's like, I'll send you an email in 2 days. I'll just see what my colleagues say about that. And then we'll find the best possible answer. And then we actually discussed, which was so nice, because finally I had someone that I could actually talk to and like weigh up the pros and cons and just really get an idea of what I wanted to do. But in the end, it was my decision. So accepting that responsibility, knowing that it was my decision, not hers, that was the most difficult part for me. But yeah.
We have a similar kind of, it's not as, elaborate as your journey, but his leg, like I said earlier, is a little wonky. So, You know, he right from the beginning, like he would do like he would kind of skip every once in a while when he was walking. He would like kind of hop, and I don't know. When we first got him, I discovered that there was these little lumps on his left hind thigh, and so my vet didn't know what they were, and she's like, I would have to biopsy them. We'll biopsy them when we neuter him. So I agreed to that. And she told me that they were this, like, after we got the results, she's like, it's not cancer, so that's good. But they were like vascular tissue. And she was like, I've never seen anything like this. She got like opinions from all these different people. And she was like, I guess, just leave them, because there was a whole bunch. And so I don't know if that's why he like kind of favors that leg just from that surgery. But then when we were like, I thought my vet here said he had patella luxation. But there's like different gradients. So it's like grade 1, 2, 3. And I think grade 3 is when you can pull it out, but you can't get it back in. Like 2 is you can pull it out, but put it back in. And 1 is you can't pull it out. So she couldn't pull it out. So he was still grade 1. When we were in London, he actually started skipping, and then he was limping, and he lifted his leg up and wouldn't walk on it for like 3-4 days. So I took him to the vet. They did x-rays, and they told me that he had a partially torn ACL. So they're like, and actually the guy was very honest with me. He's like, I wouldn't do surgery yet because it's not like they fix it like with humans. They just I guess they kind of cut it and then they shave down where it attaches, like the ligament attaches to the bone. And so he was kind of like, he's probably not going to really like walk a lot better than what he's doing now. So I decided to not do it. But it's like, it can be frustrating because it's like I've been to 2 different vets and I've had 2 different opinions. And I guarantee you if I went to a third, they would be like, yeah, no, it's actually this. So then it's like, well, you can't. I mean, listen, if I had infinite money, I would just be like, treat them for everything, Yeah. But there has to be some kind of, budget at the end of the day that you can't just throw 10 grand at it. That would be a lot of money. And it does make me feel bad because I'm like, if I did have all this money, I would just do all the surgeries and everything. But then, yeah.
I'm all for it. But again, our case is one of the best to not advocate for surgeries at all the time, because we are doing this routine with exercises, with monitoring weight, with a lot of things like mapping her and all of these. A lot of time goes into it, yes. But we we didn't do the surgery, and we hopefully won't have to do it for at least a couple of years, maybe never. So, and all of that a vet would have never come up with and would have never told us. So it's a lot of research and talking to other canine professionals to put all of that together. And I'm working now with a vet who's monitoring that plan. But all our previous vets, I'm not sure about the current one, would have never come up with that plan on their own. So there is merit really in just believing one of the vets or making one person responsible, and in terms of discussing things with you, like really going down deep into the material and really like give you an opinion and answer all of your questions. Just like find this one person and then challenge them, because nobody has all the answers. So I would always advocate for that.
Well, I think you were also very experienced with dogs to begin with. Like, Judge is our first as as my, primary dog in my adult life. And I feel like you've always had dogs. So, I did too, but I was always a kid.
Yeah. I wouldn't freak out at little things, I guess. I wouldn't be like, that's a vet visit. My partner at the time actually was like, oh, is he okay? He's okay. I was like, he's fine.
See, I am more like that now. In the beginning, I was very much, a nervous, parent, and like I would bring him for everything. I will say he did have. I know this is more of an emergency, and we're not going there. But in the beginning, he did have these fevers, and like he'd get really hot in the middle of the night. Like I could tell, and like I remember I brought him like 3. It must have been at least 3, probably 4, maybe even 5 times. And like I remember one time he had like 105 fever because like I checked it. I would check it myself. Yeah. And I took him. I brought him in the car. I put like an ice pack on him, and I ran to it was like 3 a.m, and I was driving like very, very fast. I can't say it or else I might get arrested. And but I was going super fast, and I was like just trying to get there as fast as possible. And but yeah, that was a legit reason. But I did have a lot of stupid reasons too.
I remember Bowie having diarrhea on I'm sorry, Sammy, because we did clean it away, but in the dining room, on the dining room floor. Yeah, it was the dining room. He just had a bit of diarrhea, and you were like so unfazed, and so it's fine, it doesn't really matter. And I was freaking out.
That's probably like everyone feeding him cake and treats and everything, and then he just
he was absolutely fine. I mean, even the days after, I remember texting like, "How is he doing?" And you were like, "Yeah, he's fine." It's just. I would have been to the vet because it was in the evening, and I would have been to the emergency vet if it was Makenzie. At that time, so I grew out of it a bit. I want to say.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, we've definitely grown out of it a lot, and luckily, knock on wood, Max has been really good. We haven't had to do any like emergency visits with him. It's the potty training with him is the difficult thing at the moment, but
how's it going?
It's going. He has this new thing where he likes to go to the bathroom in bed now. So he's not allowed in the bed right now until we resolve
in that. The bed? On the bed?
Yeah. Ugh. On the bed. He peed like 2 nights in a row on the bed, so I had to change all the sheets and everything. And then one time, actually, I had just changed all the sheets, like the comforter and everything. I put him on the bed, and he started to poop on the bed. So I grabbed him real quick and put him on because thankfully I got to him in time. But yeah, so that's the difficult thing at the moment because he's so he's a little bit bigger now, but he doesn't have like the heavy coat that Judge has because he's just a short hair Chihuahua. So he's pretty small. He shivers a lot. If I bring him outside, he starts shaking. So it's so cold here. I can't bring him outside for, every time he's got to go. So we're doing the pad training, the wee pads. Yeah. So he's doing better with that, but he still has, like, I'll just see him all of a sudden, he'll just start peeing. And I'm like, why are you, like, the mat's right there. Just go to the mat,
So it's for him, it's a decision of comfort, not trying to tell you something else.
Yeah, I think the second he feels like he's got to do something, he just does it. Like, sometimes if it creeps up on him, he goes to the mat. I would say he goes to the mat. When he's we have a little playpen for him. He's 100% of the time in the playpen, he goes on the mat. When he's out of it, it's probably like we're at probably close to 90% now. So he doesn't have that many accidents anymore. He's getting better. The bed thing is new. He never really did anything on the bed. I don't know why now he feels that the bed is the place to be to go to the bathroom. So now he's in the pen all night long because I can't deal with that. I'm not rolling over and there it is.
Good smell.
Yeah.
Can he jump off the bed? Is the bed quite high for him to jump off?
He can't jump off the bed. Actually, as a matter of fact, we have stairs even for Judge. I don't know if Judge can jump on. He does jump off, but because of his leg, we got him stairs, and we want him to use them, but sometimes he jumps off still because he's a maniac. He's a 7-year-old puppy.
Yeah. Makenzie doesn't want to use the stairs. She jumps, and sometimes she just sits because the bed is quite high here in Munich, and she sits in front of the bed. She looks at you, and she's like, so I want to be lifted up, and then I get up, ready to lift her up, and then she just looks at me and jumps up.
And then runs away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
the
funny,
stairs she doesn't want to do.
One of the ones who uses the stairs the most is Nipsey, and she's the one who can jump. I mean, she can jump super high.
True.
And she's so nimble. I mean, she gets onto the top of the refrigerator.
Really?
Yeah.
From the floor?
From the floor. She can jump on top.
She is a cat, yeah.
So our current apartment, we have a little counter right next to the fridge. So she jumps onto the counter and then up. But our other apartment, we didn't, and she would just jump straight up from the floor.
So going back to the vet, was there, because that was the question that I wanted to ask, was there any one moment or experience that you didn't expect at the vets? Because I did have so many. I feel like other people should have them too.
Not really.
No.
I not to be boring, but for the most part, I think everything was fairly expected. I was never like blindsided by something where I was like, oh no. Thankfully, knock on wood. I never got like obviously, when they told me he had a partially torn ACL, I was like, oh no. Like, I thought immediately I would need surgery. But then the vet was like, I wouldn't even do it yet. Like, it's not bad enough for. So I was like, oh, okay, perfect. I mean, that was probably the worst one, was when he said that he had a partially torn ACL.
He has been for his ears. He's been because he had yeast.
Yeast, yeah.
Yeast in the ear.
Yeah, yeast in the ear. That's the only other time he's actually had to go to the vet, because he had yeast in his ear.
See, the vet cleans him all up. I mean, the groomer cleans him all up. He does his ears. So even he had an ear infection last year. So,
okay, and then
like same thing.
I mean, yeah, I'm just like, Bowie eats so much shit off the. Sorry, he can cut that out, editor.
That's fine.
He eats so much beef.
So much crap. I'm always quite shocked that he doesn't have to go to the vets for stomach problems and stuff, because if he sees anything on the floor, he will darts to it and will just quickly eat, because he knows I'm going to try and get it out of his mouth.
Yeah.
He'll quickly wolf that down.
Same thing with Judge.
Which makes me nervous.
That's what they're the same. Yeah, that makes me nervous. And what, not to bring it back, I know that we're more dog focused, but with Nipsey, she knocks stuff off the counter, like I think on purpose to like help him. So one of the things, actually, I don't know if I have it anymore. I might have thrown it out. He loves to chew the remote control, and so I have to put it in like a drawer, because she'll knock it off and then he'll get it, and I'm on like my second or third remote already, because he'll chew the crap out of it.
Oh, she's so smart, like a true little sister.
Yeah, and I'm like I'll come home. There's like stuff's torn up everywhere, and I'm like, I know that was not. One thing was actually my notebook for work.
Oops.
And I had like stuff that I needed in there, and I came home and it was half torn up. And I'm like, are people going to believe me when I say my dog ate it? That's why I don't have the answer.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of our discussions. I could go on endlessly about vet stories, but I think you two are just the lucky ones. You don't have too many to share, which is amazing.
I mean, we have a bunch. I've done, he's had enough, but a lot of them are also emergency visits.
Yeah, that we cover.
I was panicked.
Separately, because I don't want to be left hanging alone in the emergency visit section.
No, I've done so many of them.
I mean, sorry, I didn't have much more to say on that, but I've been very lucky with my dog.
Yes, you are. And you shared your emergency story
cool.
already, so for the next time you need to think about something. Bowie, do something.
Eat something, Bowie.
So that brings us to our book tip. And this month I wanted to share the book Low Stress Handling, Restraint and Behavior Modification of Dogs and Cats by Sophia Yin. So Sophia Yin was a veterinarian and certified applied animal behaviorist who questions the long-standing assumption that dogs must be physically restrained in order to receive proper veterinary care. In the book, she brings behavioral science into the clinic, showing how fear, loss of control, and repeated forced handling can shape a dog's response to vet visits over time. And by asking the profession to reflect on practices that had gone unquestioned for decades, Yin worked to help to shift veterinary care toward more fear-aware, low-stress approaches that benefit both dogs and the people caring for them. So that is for me. You lucky dogs are not affected. So although this book was written for veterinary professionals, it is a valuable read for dog owners and cat owners because it does help to recognize stress signals, understand what the dog may be learning in these moments, and how you can advocate more clearly for their emotional safety, which I really learned the hard way to advocate for Makenzie. It is a super good read. It's short. It has many pictures. It is a bit more dense, but I do think it's absolutely worth spending your time on if you want to. And if you read it, drop us a message. Let us know what you thought of it. And then next time on Pawplexity, maybe we can talk about how it feels leaving your dog alone.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This one
I expect so many more stories for that one.
Yeah, God.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for sharing
a little
your stories.
A little tip on that. Get a dog camera. It gives you more anxiety.
It does. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us. We love talking about our dogs so much, and we hope you like hearing our many stories. This is Pawplexity, and you just listen to our episodes going to the vet. Thank you guys for joining.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining, and remember to pick up after your pets.
All of them. Please do.
Yes.